So, what exactly was the Cold War? Simply put, the Cold War was a non-violent superiority contest between the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Wow, what a mouthful. That lasted from 1947 to 1948. The United States is a capitalist state where the economy is basically controlled by private owners. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union had a communist government where the public controls the economy. Both fought as allies in World War II, and have soon became superpowers of the world. However, even after the camaraderie, the US still did not trust the USSR, thus beginning the Cold War. Now, why was it called the Cold War, you may ask? It was called this because they didn't really declare war on each other. It was more of just a rivalry. Now, here are a couple of things to remember about the Cold War. Number 1. Alliances. An alliance is a union or association formed for mutual benefit, especially between countries or organizations. The US formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO for short. It was at the time composed of Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, and the United Kingdom. The USSR responded by creating its own alliance, the Warsaw Pact. It was composed of Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. However, the rest of the world didn't really choose sides, but rather sat back and watched. This led to Egypt and India founding the non-aligned movement, along with Africa, South America, and South Asia. Number 2. War. During the Cold War, there was a lot of, wars. One of the main causes of this was that many countries were thinking about resorting to communism. Many citizens opposed this, and so many wars have erupted as a result. First, let's look at the Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1962, during the Cuban Revolution, it was discovered Cuba had a dangerous amount of missiles. This was a problem because Cuba is about 90 miles away from Florida, and so the US threatened the USSR with military force to remove the missiles. A couple years before, there was the Korean War, a fight between the communist North Korea and the capitalist South Korea that lasted from 1950 to 1953. North Korea was aided by the Warsaw Pact and South Korea was aided by NATO. Then there's the Vietnam War. From 1954 to 1979, communist North Korea fought against anti-communist South Korea. Over 2 million have died, 3 million wounded, 12 million refugees, and $168 billion spent. Then in 1973, U.S. President Richard Nixon decided to let Vietnam deal with its own problems. Last but not least, we have the Soviet Afghan War. Afghanistan's government was taken over by communists. The Mujahideen didn't like that and resisted. They were met with Soviet forces, and so millions of Afghan people fled to either Pakistan or Iran. The Mujahideen gained help from the U.S. and European countries. By 1988, the USSR surrendered, and by 1989, Afghanistan was back to normal. Sweet strawberry jam, that was a lot. Number 3. Detente. Detente was a period of time from 1969 to 1979 to be exact, where tensions between both the US and the USSR have softened. During this period, many accomplishments were made, like the Strategic Arms Limitations Treaty, or SALT I for short. This treaty of 1972 limited the use of nuclear weapons in both the US and USSR arsenals. Number 4. The arms race. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but it is too late to go back now, so let's just go with it. The arms race was a very big competition between the US and the USSR to see who had the best technology and weapons. A lot of money was often spent on the proliferation of bombs and weaponry. The newly developed technologies and the military's financial backing led to the dominance of American aviation companies. This is known as the military-industrial complex. Now, it's time for some quick points. Perestroika was the restructuring of the government and economy in the USSR. Glasnost, which is transparency in Russian. Those Russian classes have been paying off. Anyway, Glasnost was an attempt to improve freedom of expression throughout the Union. The Berlin Wall was used to separate East and West Germany. From 1961 to 1989. On December 25, 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev, leader of the USSR at the time, has resigned. Soon after, the flag of the USSR was lowered one last time, and replaced with a Russian flag. And there you have it. Now you know the basic rundown of the Cold War. I hope you enjoyed this video. Before I go, I would like to thank our sponsor NordVPN.